Late one evening after a particularly stressful day at work, John decided to take a walk through the dense forest near his home. He had always found solace in the quiet and solitude of the woods, and tonight was no exception. As he ventured deeper into the forest, the sounds of the city faded away, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant hooting of an owl. However, as John continued his walk, he began to notice something strange. Faint whispers seemed to be coming from all directions, growing louder and more sinister with each step he took. At first, he dismissed the whispers as his imagination playing tricks on him. But as they persisted, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The whispers grew louder, and John felt a growing sense of dread. He tried to retrace his steps. The whispers grew louder, and John felt a growing sense of dread. He tried to retrace his steps, but the forest seemed to have changed, and he couldn't find his way back. The whispers turned into chilling laughter, and John realized that he was not alone in the woods. Panic set in as he frantically searched for an escape. But as the unseen presence seems to be closing in on him, as John stumbled through the darkness, he came across an old abandoned cabin. Desperate for shelter, he entered the cabin and barricaded the door. The whispers and laughter continued outside, but John felt a temporary sense of relief, believing he found a safe haven. However, he explored the cabin. He discovered a hidden room filled with disturbing symbols and evidence of dark rituals. John realized that the cabin was the source of the malevolent presence in the woods, and he had unwittingly walked right into the lair. As the whispers and laughter grew louder and more menacing, John knew he had to find a way to escape the cabin and the forest before it was too late. With sheer determination and courage, he devised a plan to outsmart the evil presence and make his way back to safety. In the end, John managed to escape the haunted woods, forever changed by his harrowing existence. The chilling whispers and sinister laughter still haunts his dreams, but he knew that he had to survive something truly terrifying. The Whispering Woods will remain a dark and a mysterious place, a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that lurk in the shadows. It was a cold moonlit night when Sarah decided to take a walk to clear her mind. She had always found solace in the quiet of the night, and the old isolated bridge on the outskirts of town was her favorite spot to visit. As she approached the middle of the bridge, she noticed a figure standing near the edge, seemingly in distress. Feeling concerned, Sarah approached the stranger, hoping to offer some help. As she got closer, she realized that the figure was a young woman, her face pale and her eyes filled with fear. The woman explained that she had been followed by someone, and she was too afraid to continue her journey alone. Sarah, feeling a sense of responsibility, decided to accompany the woman across the bridge and assure her safety. As they walked, the woman began to share her story, revealing a dark and twisted past filled with betrayal and heartache. Sarah couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease. As they reached the other side of the bridge, the woman's demeanor suddenly changed. Her eyes grew cold and a sinister smile spread across her face. Sarah realized with a sinking fear in her stomach that she had been lured into a trap. The woman revealed her true intentions, and Sarah found herself in a desperate struggle to escape the bridge and the malevolent force that had ensnarled her. With her heart pounding and adrenaline coursing through her veins, Sarah managed to break free from the woman's grasp and sprint back across the bridge. As she reached the safety of the other side, she looked back to see the woman standing on the bridge, her sinister smile etched on her face. Sarah knew that she narrowly escaped a dark and dangerous fate, and the bridge will forever serve as a chilling reminder of the encounter that had nearly cost her everything. A group of friends decided to explore a supposedly haunted tunnel late at night. The tunnel, located on the outskirts of town, had been the subject of countless urban legends and ghost stories. Eager to prove their bravery, the friends gathered their flashlights and set off on their adventure. They entered the dark, damp tunnel. They couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The air was thick with an oppressive atmosphere, and the echoes of their footsteps seemed to take on a life of their own. As they ventured further into the tunnel, they began to experience strange, terrifying phenomena. Whispers seemed to be just coming off from the walls, and ghostly figures appeared and vanished into the shadows. The friends tried to laugh off their fear, but it was clear that they were all deeply unsettled. As they continued deeper into the tunnel, the paranormal activity intensified, and they realized that the legend about the tunnel might be true. Desperate to escape the natural forces that seemed to be closing in on them, the friends frantically searched for a way out. The tunnel seemed to stretch on and on and on, endlessly. As they began to fear that they would never find the way back to safety to the outside world, as their panic grew, they plunged into each other for support, determined to survive the night. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the friends emerged from the haunted tunnel, shaken and exhausted. They knew they had barely escaped terrifying feelings, and the experience had left them forever changed. The haunted tunnel would remain a terrifying, chilling reminder of the unknown forces that lurk in the shadows, waiting to prey on the unwary. Late one night after a long day of work, Mark decided to take a walk to clear his mind. He lived in a quiet neighborhood, and the streets were usually deserted at this hour. As he strolled down the dimly lit sidewalk, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Mark glanced around, but there was no one in sight. He tried to dismiss the paranoia, but it persisted. As he continued walking, he noticed a dark shadow on the ground, seamlessly following him. He stopped and looked around again, but still there was no one nearby. Feeling uneasy, Mark decided to head back home. As he turned around, the shadow seemed to be growing larger and more menacing. Mark quickened his pace, and the shadow followed suit. Panic set in as Mark broke into a run, desperately trying to escape the shadow that had now been chasing him. As he sprinted down the street, he could hear the sounds of footsteps echoing behind him. He dared not to look, fearing what he might see. Finally, Mark reached his house and fumbled with his keys, his hands shaking with terror. He managed to unlock the door and rushed inside, slamming it shut behind him. Mark never knew what the shadow was, or why it targeted him, but he never took a late night walk again. The experience left him with a lingering fear of the dark, and a constant fear that something was lurking just out of sight. One foggy evening, Emily decided to explore an old abandoned mansion. At the edge of town, the mansion had a reputation for being haunted, and Emily, a thrill seeker, couldn't resist the temptation to uncover its secrets. As she entered the mansion, the creaking floorboards with the eerie silence sent shivers down her spine. She cautiously made her way through the dark, dusty rooms, her flashlight casting shadows on the decaying walls. In the heart of the mansion, Emily discovered a grand ballroom, its once elegant chandeliers now covered in cobwebs. As she stepped into the dance floor, she suddenly heard a faint sound of music playing. The haunting melody seemed to be coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. Emily's curiosity turned into terror as ghostly figures began to materialize around her, dancing to the eerie tone. She tried to flee, but the spectacled dancers closed in, their hollow eyes fixed on her. In a desperate attempt to escape, Emily stumbled upon a hidden passage that led her out of the mansion. She emerged into the light, her heart pounding, and vowed never to return to the haunted mansion again. The chilling encounter left her with a newfound respect for the supernatural and a lingering fear of the unknown. How's it going, everybody? Horror up here. What did you guys think about this video? Let me know in the comments down below. And what kind of stories do you want me to do next on this channel? Leave a comment down below as well. And with that being said, I hope you have a good late night walk yourself, and that nothing happens to you.